Hey guys, welcome to tonight's episode of Q&A with Dr. A. I am Dr. Aaron Ernst. Not only do I host the Ask Dr. Ernst show here in Charlotte, but for the last, almost 15, 16 weeks now, we've been doing a weekly series known as Q&A with Dr. A. What I love about this is not only do I get to answer your questions, but we get to share some amazing information so that each watching can learn from others. And the number one thing that I find is that the response we've been getting from our weekly episodes is that this is the equivalent of literally watching a seminar or a webinar for your health every single week. If you're just joining us or just tuning in for the first time, I do this every Thursday at 7 o'clock. In fact, we have multiple episodes that you can go back and look through. We've answered all kinds of questions relating to all kinds of health issues, even discussing some protocols on how to lose weight, how to fix diabetes, how to reverse thyroid conditions. So we have such a huge arsenal of information available. And that gives us an opportunity to point out that the Ask Dr. Ernst website is also loaded with recipes, health tips, guides, ebooks. So I really hope you guys find the information and the content that we have informative and easy to apply. So for tonight, we're going to do a couple products again. You guys are really asking about some really great information, and we're going to answer some pretty deep questions in regards to my intermittent fasting guides and protocols. So to sort of precurse this, to help you understand some of these questions, one thing that I teach for natural healing is the general concept that we eat too much. And a lot of us are wanting to lose weight or wanting to get healthy, and we think it's going to be by changing what we eat or how we eat it. And really in all aspects, the best thing you could do is change when you eat your foods more so than what you eat. And if you haven't yet looked into this, there are tremendous amounts of studies showing that a human should actually go a day, 2, 3, 4 without eating food periodically throughout their year. And there was a study done not that long ago that discovered if you did simply a 24-hour fast, so pick one day and not eat any food, that your immune system basically reboots itself. It almost recharges itself to come back to a much more lustrous and vibrant power. So if you have not, at least in the last 6 months or a year, skipped an entire day without eating, then you are missing out in one of the most natural healing powers of the human body. And we had someone who came in this week and asked me, why are we so big into not eating? And it's partly because of the fact that when you hold back on eating food, your body uses the energy that it would use to digest your food for other components, for healing, for example, or for repair. So many times why so many of us are so sick is we never give our body the chance to just heal by itself. We never give it the rest it needs. And if we're constantly eating breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, dessert, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, dessert, it literally is an onslaught of mostly toxins, chemicals, bad fats, and things that your body has to detoxify. So it's working really hard to protect you rather than to heal you. So fasting is something that I teach as a way to help your body to heal. One thing we discuss is what's known as daily intermittent fasting. And so the question comes sort of preloaded by saying, can I move my 8-hour block of eating to an earlier time frame? Say instead of eating from 12 to 8, can I eat from 10 to 6? So the answer to this is yes. But I want to help you understand why we do the fasting and the eating the way we do. If you look at a 24-hour window of your day, there are basically 3 8-hour chunks. Most of us sleep for 8 hours, so we have 2 waking 8 hours. I teach that your first 8 hours of waking need to be fasting because it helps your body to sort of do the repair, the healing, and everything on its own. So with that, to answer your question, can you do 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.? Yes, but it requires you to wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning to have your 8 hours of fasting before you eat. So I'm a bigger fan, if you want to move them, of maybe going later in the day. So instead of doing 10 to 6, maybe you do 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Or something later so that we're shifting our eating window this way towards the evening instead of this way towards waking. Because if you wake up at 6 and you only fast for 4 hours and then you eat at 10, you're not going to get the full healing benefits and the full ketosis pushing and the full, fat burning process that you would if you waited until noon. But can you do this? Yes. You can eat from 10 to 6 and fast from 6 p.m. to 10 a.m., but you won't get as big of a benefit I have seen in doing that. Now, secondarily, the other thing that we could do to help you is that if you do move it from 10 to 6, make sure that from 6 o'clock until you go to sleep, you eat nothing but fats. So that could be like coconut oil, fat bombs, MCT oil, things to this effect, because it will at least help you to sort of push your body into a fat burning state before you sleep. So I love the fact that we have this question. It shows me that you're at least attempting and trying to do everything right. And so I'm going to applaud you for that. Can you do your 10 to 6 time? Yes. Will you get a little different result if you stuck with noon to 8? Yes. So I don't know if it's because of a work restriction. I don't know if it's just because you like to eat at 10. I'm not exactly sure. But I'm a bigger fan of noon to 8 or 1 to 9 or something along that line because it gives you that full 8-hour fasting window in the beginning. Next question says, is there a specific type of gum that I like or that I recommend? Yes. The first thing to just point out is a lot of chewing gums, of course, they're loaded with sugar and they have different flavoring agents and things that make them kind of toxic. So this isn't a call to action for Spry. They didn't pay me to say this. It just happens to be the gum that I use. The reason that I like Spry gum is they are one of the only that I know of that is GMO free, guaranteed to be gluten-free. And you might say, what on earth could gluten be doing in chewing gum? But a lot of times they actually use a wheat-based sort of like agent to hold it together. This one, of course, has 0 sugar in it, so it's not sweetened by sugar, and it uses xylitol. The reason that I like this gum is that xylitol has actually been found to help to clean plaque out of your teeth. So it can be naturally destroying to certain bacteria that cause plaque buildup within the mouth. There are actually some dental studies showing that xylitol helps to keep the mouth healthier and clean. So why I like Spry is, of course, they have done the research on xylitol. They know it's really good for your teeth, and they've made a sweetened gum using xylitol instead of using sugar or sugar alcohols or something to that effect. The reason I like the cinnamon one, if you guys notice that I'm holding the cinnamon one, is because cinnamon helps to naturally flavor the breath, of course, but it's a sugar buster. It's a sugar destroyer. It helps to regulate sugars. So Eva, I know there's no sugar in this, but when you're chewing gum, you tend to activate sort of digestive processes within the body. You sort of trick the body into thinking that it's eating. So if you chew a gum that's cinnamon flavored, you can also trick the body into thinking that you ate, and it helps to decrease your sugars by using the effect of the herb. So love it. It's a great gum. I suggest that you guys maybe look into it if you haven't. What I like about it too is that they're, of course, in these little chiclets. So it makes it really easy for you to not, chew 3 or 4 or 5 pieces. We're not talking about blowing bubbles. We're not talking about that kind of stuff. It's just a simple gum that you can use to clean your mouth out. Chewing gum, by the way, should be done when? 15 minutes before you eat food, because again, remember I told you it helps to activate your digestive process. So we use chewing gum as a way to sort of turn on your gastric juices and get you ready to eat food. 15 minutes before you eat, spit it out then, and of course, we're good to go. And that brings up an interesting point, doesn't it? Most people chew gum when? After they eat, to try to clean their mouth out and things to that effect. And that is not the best sort of holistic method of using chewing gum. Great question. Next question says, I'm trying to increase my fats on the go, having difficulty following your high-fat diet because I'm on the go a lot. So what are some things I can do to increase my fats on the go? Well, okay, so one thing you could do is you could eat an avocado. That's pretty easy on the go. It's kind of self-contained. All you gotta do is cut it in the center, pop it open. You can eat it with a spoon right out of the shell, toss the shell. Another thing you could do is you could eat cheese. Even though it has protein in it, cheese has a lot of fat and no sugar. So it's a really good sort of easy on-the-go snack that you can do. A lot of times when I come to the office, I bring an avocado and an entire block of raw cheese, and there's my lunch for the day. So that makes it really simple. But I want to show you guys something that Spectrum has recently made. It's basically an on-the-go coconut oil supplement. So it's in a little blister pack. What's great about coconut oil is it doesn't have to be refrigerated. It can stay at room temperature, And it's so simple to actually eat this stuff on a basis when you're on the go. Sometimes I actually just tear this open, put it right in my mouth, and swallow it. It's a great way to get good fats into your diet. But also, I can use these to maybe add some extra fats to my coffee on the go, or to warm it up between my hands. Maybe take it and go like this, heat this product up, and then pour it onto your salad as a dressing or something to that effect. It's a great way to add fats on the go. Another thing, of course, is when we talk about increasing our fats throughout the day, most of us don't realize how easy it is to add fats to your green salads. If you're at a restaurant, just ask for olive oil, maybe some balsamic or a vinaigrette or something to that effect, and just pour olive oil to the point of not swimming, but at least saturated, because you want to eat the oils, and if anything, the salad becomes a method to deliver the oil to your body. So thank goodness Spectrum is realizing people are looking for coconut oil on the go. And this guy's maybe about $1.30. It's a GMO-free, completely organic, in a blister pack. Fantastic product. Next question says, my blood pressure is elevated despite taking medications that my doctor has prescribed. Are there some natural solutions? What a loaded question, because of course, yes, there are. Let me give you sort of my common thought processes behind blood pressure that's elevated, that's unresponsive to medication. First of all, it's an indication that it's not the lack of medication creating your high blood pressure. Because think about it, if the blood pressure was going to respond to medications, then it would come down. So I'd like to say it's an indication that you shouldn't be taking these blood pressure medications, number one, because they're not solving your problem. Number two is to recognize that high blood pressure is a response that the body has. There are times when it's actually normal to have high blood pressure. I mean, it's a bad analogy, but of course, if I'm running and maybe I'm sprinting or working out, my pressure is going to go up. So you guys understand, your body makes pressure go up for a reason. What most of you don't realize is that in a healing state or a state of repair, your blood pressure needs to elevate to push nutrition, oxygen, and various things into the blood and into the cells. So it's possible that your blood pressure is elevated because you're going through a healing state. Now, another thing that can happen is blood pressure can elevate in signs of deficiency. For example, magnesium deficiency can lead to a constricting of the vessels within your body, which causes a spike in blood pressure. Believe it or not, as controversial as this may sound, salt deficiency can actually raise your blood pressure. Not a table salt deficiency, but a mineral salt deficiency. So if your body is lacking in its natural salts, then your pressure can go up. And you may ask yourself, how on earth could I become salt deficient? Well, when you sweat, your body naturally secretes various salts that you have inside of you. And I guarantee you're probably not drinking salted water to replace your salted sweat. Most of us just drink water when we sweat a lot, and we're not putting the salts back in. Even the companies that supposedly make these electrolyte drinks, so Gatorade and Powerade and all these kind of aid drinks, they don't put salts in there. They put dyes and then minerals into it, like magnesium, potassium, and things to that effect. So one thing I would suggest, if you're going to try to shoot for lowering your blood pressure naturally, is reducing your inflammation. That's going to be cutting out sugar and wheat, grains, and fruits and things that turn into sugar. Number two would be addressing your deficiencies. Classically, I look at a magnesium deficiency and a salt deficiency, but it might be worth getting a test run to find out if your body's missing some of its vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. And then lastly, I'd like to talk about the unknown secret in regards to reversing and lowering blood pressure, which is your spine's connection to your heart. There was a study done by the University of Chicago that found that when you get a chiropractic adjustment to the first cervical nerve, that they averaged about a 10-point drop in both systolic and diastolic pressure. And you might be asking yourself, how can an adjustment to the first cervical nerve make my pressure go down? Well, underneath that first cervical bone is something called the vagus nerve. And it actually exits the base of the skull, runs down the esophagus, and one of the first organs that it goes to is the heart-lung complex. And the vagus nerve is a parasympathetic nerve. Now, what your parasympathetic system does is it slows things down. So think about this for a moment. If you have pressure or a blockage on the nerve that is supposed to slow down your heart, your brain cannot send the slowing signal, and so guess what happens? it starts to increase its rate, rhythm, and possibly pressure. So the study found out that if you can set your first cervical bone properly, pressure drops back to normal. And as a chiropractor, I have seen hundreds of patients get an adjustment to their spine and watch their blood pressure drop naturally. And I say this to answer your question because I would consider that to be a non-prescriptive medication approach to healing a high blood pressure state. I don't know if you're watching us tonight, but there is some information below on how you guys can connect with us. If you're looking for some natural solutions to your health issues, we can schedule a consultation time, possibly over the phone or even through email, where I can help to point you in the right direction. Next question says, there are so many supplements to take that are supposedly good for you. How do I know which ones I need? And I think maybe your question is this. You guys, you walk into like the vitamin shop, it's probably at least 5,000 square feet and it's filled to the gills with supplements. So there's this for this and that for that and this herb and that herb. And I do get this question asked a lot. Mostly it's like this. Hey, I see this spirulina supplement and they said online that it's good for energy. Should I take this for my energy? Or it's, I've heard about this herb that can help to do this. Should I take it? And really what we're doing is we're using a take this for that mentality behind supplements as if they're medications. A lot of times people come to me and they say stuff like, hey, I heard red yeast rice can help to lower my cholesterol. Is that something I should do to lower my cholesterol? And it's kind of like, well, it can do it, but the question is does your body need it to be done? And you might be thinking something like, well, why would my body not want cholesterol to come down? Or why would I not want more energy? But we have to take a step back and stop treating things based upon symptomatic approach. So for example, if I'm tired, instead of going and finding some supplement or energy shot or something to make me feel energetic, why don't I instead find out why I'm tired in the first place? And it might be that you're deficient in some sort of nutrient or enzyme. So I'm not saying supplements aren't good, but be careful because a lot of people, maybe not you, but a lot of people use supplements like they are an alternative to a medication. They just, well, I'll take this because it makes me feel better and it's at least natural, so it's good. To answer your question though, you have to understand this. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of biochemical processes within the body. And they do require vitamins, minerals, cofactors, enzymes, and nutrients to function. If I was going to pick certain very key, powerful vitamins or minerals that you should be on, then I would choose these. All of your B vitamins. So your B complex from 1 all the way down to 12 and then some. Because we even know that there are vitamins like B16, B17, B18. The numbers are just the allocation of what we've discovered different B vitamins do. So I would suggest at the minimum you take a well-rounded B complex. In addition, because we're talking biochemical processing, CoQ10 and lipoic acid are absolutely essential for cardiac function, for energetic productions, and for almost every metabolic process within the human body. And as we get older, we tend to have a more difficult time absorbing, converting, and using CoQ10. So CoQ10 would be an absolute supplement that I would be on every single day for the rest of my life. Same thing with lipoic acid. It helps to create a detoxification process within the body, and it supports a lot of your fat burning and energy producing metabolic systems. Another one that I would probably consider to take every single day, of course, is vitamin D3, because it's a massive hormone that controls not only just your immune system, but a lot of the shuttling processes within the body. What I mean by that is it helps to shuttle other hormones around. So vitamin D deficiency has been linked to everything from cancer to heart disease to diabetes to MS. So definitely take that on a daily basis. I'd also consider taking some type of an oil. So either a flax oil, a borage oil, a hemp oil, a chia seed oil, some sort of an oil on a daily basis, coconut oil, because what it does is it helps to keep your membranes healthy. Remember, your cells are wrapped in fat, and most of us eat the wrong kinds of fats, so we need to be supplementing ourselves with a healthy fat on a daily basis. Lastly, I would do something to make sure that you're detoxifying on a daily basis. Some of my most favorites, of course, are turmeric. It has a capsaicin effect, which helps to kind of pull things out of the body. I would also consider taking something like N-acetylcysteine or some sort of glutathione supporter, and basically a chelating product like magnesium or fiber or psyllium, fulvic acid. even things like activated charcoal on a daily basis, because now what we're doing is we're not only supporting the cells, but we're pulling toxins out of them every single day. Why would we need to do that daily and not on a quarterly or monthly basis? Because we get toxicity around us all the time. As we mentioned on one of our previous episodes, toxins come from everything. They come from the foods we eat, to the products we put on us, to even the air we breathe. So we need to detoxify on a regular basis. Just a little fun fact to finding out what supplements you actually do need, it's a really good idea to get tested. There now exists today vitamin tests, mineral tests, nutrient tests that you can run on your body to discover if you have the right B vitamins, if you're missing minerals or things to that effect. And so that would be my suggestion for you. Next question says, I heard you had a coffee night recently and I had a family obligation, couldn't make it. I love coffee. Can you give me a synopsis on what you taught then? Wow, that was like an hour event, so I have 10 minutes. Let's see if we can do that. Okay, so we discussed this not brand new, but it's a coffee company that's known as Purity. The reason that I have selected this coffee for you guys as my most favorite coffee is twofold. One, they are the only company that guarantees the coffee to be free from mold, mycotoxins, which are the toxins that come from mold, pesticides, and herbicides. Now you may be asking yourself, why do I need to be so concerned if my coffee has mold in it? Well, mold causes a massive amount of disarray within the human body. Most of the time you would never know if your coffee has mold in it because it grows inside the bean, and then you grind that bean, and most of you aren't investigating your coffee grinds before you brew it. You just dump it right into the machine and off it goes. What causes the mold is the inappropriate brewing process. And here's what I mean by that. We start with a green coffee bean, and you have to cook them in order for you guys to actually have what you consider to be coffee. If you took a green bean and ground it and poured water through it, basically you'd have nothing coming out of the end other than just filtered water. So we take a green coffee bean, we roast it, we cook it, and the length of time that you roast your coffee bean determines the health and the nature of the actual bean itself. So when you over roast a bean, what happens is it cracks. And there's what's known as the first crack, second crack, and third crack stages of the roasting complex. The more cracks in the bean, the more likely the oils come out. And if you have an oil, like an oily bean, sit out for any period of time in the air, mold, which is found all around us, will naturally start growing in that coffee bean, just like if you left a piece of white bread on the counter for 3 days. So what happens is this: most coffee companies that you're buying your coffee from, either Whole Foods or Earth Fare, Healthy Home Market, the bins that they have them in have been sitting exposed to air for a period of time. So there's a high likelihood that mold is growing inside of them. Second, the beans themselves, when they're growing, are often sprayed quite heavily with a pesticide or an herbicide to protect them from being eaten, because of course bugs like to eat the coffee fruit. And when I say the coffee fruit, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the coffee bean is the seed that is found within inside the coffee fruit. And so of course bugs are going to go after them and they try to eat them. Another reason that I really like the Purity company is that they have a very unique selection process where they actually hand select each coffee bean to determine that it hasn't had any sort of bugs eating into it or something to that effect, because of course we want a really good high quality product when we use coffee. So you can find more information about Purity and their products by going to puritycoffee.info. One thing that they're doing right now, of course, is they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you'd like to try it and just see if it is more beneficial for you, go to the website, order a bag. What I also love about them is they roast it based upon when you order it. So tonight is Thursday. If you guys went there and ordered this tonight, they would roast it more than likely for you on Friday morning, because it's after 7 now. Roast it for you on Friday. They nitrogen pack it. So this has no air inside of this bag, so no mold can grow inside of this, and then they ship it to you within 1 to 2 days. And if you have never had a cup of coffee that is directly from a fresh roasted bean, you are missing out. And that's another challenge with most coffees that you buy from, again, Earth Fare, Healthy Home Market, Whole Foods, Harris Teeter, etc. They've probably been roasted months ago. And so it's kind of like not drinking a fresh cup of coffee, even though it's been freshly brewed. So that's just a little bit of a spiel behind Purity. You guys can go to our website. We have some more information about why this coffee is so great and why I have selected this as my Ask Dr. Ernst approved coffee. And don't forget, if you're looking for more great uses on coffee, we have a ton of different recipes you can find on our recipe tab. And I am going to show you guys at the up-and-coming Cancer Killer seminar how you can actually use coffee as a natural cancer prevention. And of course, that event is on Saturday, October 15th. All right, last question for the day is, what is it that I can do to make sure that I'm staying healthy for the rest of my life? And what a great question that we have for that. Basically, there's a couple things that I suggest when we talk long-term maintenance for health. Number one, making sure you're keeping your diet as clean as you can. No sugar, no dairy, no wheat, no soy, no corn, no rice. You might be going, what the heck am I supposed to eat then? Well, guys, that's why your classic sort of human primal diet is mostly meats, fats, and vegetables, nuts and seeds. Some people call this the paleo diet. I like it because it's what we call the cellular healing diet. So I would make sure that my diet is on track 100%. Second thing to do to make sure you're healthy for the rest of your life is make sure you pay attention to your gut health. Over 70 to 80% of your immunity is found inside of your intestines. So keeping your intestines clean, washing them out, doing detoxes, watching what you eat, addressing any leaky gut or any kind of like gut issues that you have is absolutely crucial. One way of knowing if your gut is healthy is if you're passing your stools on a regular basis. Minimum of 2 times a day, hopefully 3, is a good judgment of finding out if your gut is in a healthy state or not. And then third and last, of course, is the master system. Your nerve system controls every square inch of your body, from your hairs to your toes, to your heart, to your lungs, to your organs. And so making sure your spine is not only aligned properly, but moving properly is the secret to healthy longevity. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I look forward to seeing you guys each and every week. There is some information below about our up-and-coming Cancer Killer seminar. It's Saturday, October 15th. And guys, this thing is about to sell out, so make sure you grab your tickets now before they go and sell out. I look forward to seeing you each and every week. Until then, thanks so much. Bye-bye.